Hi, everyone. My name is Sheldon Tawata from Kapi Olani Community College. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk to you all about Kapi Olani Community College. And I know we're in an interesting situation with COVID-19, everything being online, but I remember hearing and listening to this one leader talk about how these challenges provide opportunities. And so it's really neat, I feel, that youth like yourself are in this position to kind of define your next steps. You have this opportunity to create the new normal. And so, again, it's really exciting for me to be with you all to share what KCC has to offer. But what I wanted to share too was there's many institutions under the umbrella of the University of Hawaii. And so this map does provide a general overview of where those different institutions are located. It's not uncommon for students not to know where the different campuses are located, and that's totally fine. I once had a student who thought he was applying to Kapi'olani but applied to Honolulu, and it's okay. And so as long as we have this open conversation on where things are located, what my next steps are, we'll be able to guide you. We will be able to guide you uh, to the right institution, the right path, so that you are striving for whatever personal or academic goals you have for yourself. So again, this is a good map to kind of see where all the different UH campuses are located. Kapiolani Community College, easy to remember if you hiked Diamond Head, we're basically right across the street. A lot of the conversations you have with perhaps family, friends, counselors are basically around, what college do I attend, what major do I pursue, and those are very important discussions to have. But one I feel that sometimes get overlooked, and we as counselors, both at the high school and college level, we really want to get to the heart of what you're pursuing. We want to um, maybe put a spotlight on what your core values are. We really want to know like what your interests are, what your strengths are, and understanding what is important to you. So there's a lot of exercises out there that your teachers may conduct in class, your counselors may assign to you. Even for ourselves, we have students do like these career exploration activities, and it's not to put more work on you folks, but it's to help get to um, that piece where you are going to be engaged and involved in your next steps. Again, just looking at your core values, exploring your interest, your strengths, and really looking at what is important to you. Because moving forward, entering, say, college, also maybe entering your career, this is going to play a strong role in making sure that wherever you end up, is going to be a place that resonates with you on a more deeper level. For us at the University of Hawaii, we have this tool called the Career Explorer. Students, maybe in their classes or with their counselor, may do similar interest inventories, such as the MBTI. Um, the one I'm going to show you soon is called the RIASEC. All of it very important. I feel the more you do, the better, because then you can see uh, what your interests and strengths might be through different platforms. And if there's some overlapping themes, that might be a definite conversation piece. So let's say you take a bunch of these activities and you discover crunching numbers is your thing, but you never thought about pursuing, say, like accounting or something along those lines. This is a conversation to be had. Now, these exams are just to bring a lot of your interest and your values to the surface, and it's to start a conversation. And so you can take this information and perhaps write an essay about it, talk to your teacher about it, maybe start interviewing folks in the industry and saying, I took this test and I scored pretty high in this one area. I'm very interested in your profession. How did you discover that this was where you wanted to be? And so, again, these tools are just a very strategic way to map out your next steps. Because ultimately, for counselors, families, we all want to make sure that you are on a pathway that is right for you. But in any case, let's dive into this Career Explorer and I'll show you some examples. So here we are at uhcc.hawaii.edu/career underscore explore. There's the website address that you see in the search bar. And there's just a ton of things to look at on this site. What I tend to do at the very beginning when I show students this website, again, we're diving into values now. We don't want to get into like high demand jobs, higher earning occupations, not just yet. You want to understand you. And so what I do is I click on this career explorer and it's like, help me find a career. Let's do that. So then we look at all the different options as you can see, tons of things to look at. What we want to do is take this RIASEC assessment. Here you can click on this. And then it's going to show you 42 statements that you need to answer. Pretty straightforward. What you want to do is, let's say you start with question number one. It says, I like to work on cars. If that is not you, leave it blank. If that is you, check it. Now, don't think too much about it. Maybe just read through it and be like, do I like puzzles? Yeah, I like puzzles. Then you want to check it. But don't spend hours on one question. Just kind of go with your gut feeling in answering all these questions. So I took the time to do it myself. And what I try to do is for me, I try to do this at least maybe twice a year, once a semester. Because sometimes what happens is, life events happens, my interest may shift. And so I just want to see like where everything would fall. So after I answered all 42 questions, I want to submit my RIASEC because what it's going to do is push all the top scores to the top three scores um, to the top. And here, as of today, ASE. And this happens all the time. Like every time I do this test, I'm always in this sort of letter combination. So maybe at some point, it's a reassuring thing. So when I look down at my results, it tells me that, okay, I'm social, enterprising, and artistic. Okay, makes sense. And it provides the ones that are highlighted in yellow, provides a descriptions of my three alpha codes. And let's take social for an example. These people like to work with others rather than things. Good career options for social people are, and it lists them all right over here. And when I look at the first one, my profession is in counseling. So I am where I'm supposed to be. And to me, personally, that makes perfect sense. When I go to work, I love it. When I'm asked to do certain things that places me into the community where I get to work with families, counselors, students, I love it. When I look at the other codes that fall under my interest, it makes sense too. And so when I see these things, it's like, okay, maybe I am onto something. I am probably on the right career track for myself. And so again, um, this is not to say, well, my only options are these things. It's more you want to look at these professions that they are suggesting and kind of maybe dissecting the traits that come with this particular profession. Again, like say enterprising, I would never think I was an enterprising, but when they break it down, saying I like to work with others, persuading, performing, it's like, I do like those things. And so again, it starts a different kind of thought process. It creates an opportunity to have a conversation with others and to dive deeper into careers and or degrees that are aligned with your maybe your interest, your strengths, values. Side technical note for this particular website, unfortunately, doesn't save. And so what you want to do is print your results so that it's filed somewhere and it's worth dating it. And so let's say you take it this term, print it out, save it. And let's say you're in your first year of college, maybe do it again and then see where your codes fall. So let's say you want to take the next step. So let's click on discover your options. So this is where things can get pretty cool. And so if I look at all the different careers that fall under all the different codes, let's expand everything here. And let's say, let's look at social services. So I click on that. And now this is where it gets more specific to the University of Hawaii. So what this site does, it provides you locations of where these courses are offered. And so if you're going to stay within the UH system, this might be very helpful. And so let's say if I wanted to be a social worker, it's like, okay, looks like there's two options on the island of Oahu and then one on Maui. Should I move to Maui? And so that's something to consider it over there. But let's say you just wanted to know more about the career itself. So you click on social work and it shows you like a projection, market trends. Again, this is all based in Hawaii. And so it'll show you average salary, cost of living adjustments in Hawaii, where you can get these certifications or degrees. And it also talks about job placement. And so a lot of neat things. And what I encourage students to do is to use tools such as this to do what I call like backwards mapping. And so if you see a certain career, then it's like, then you look at the degree and then you look at where you would get that degree. But what we're doing today is even a step back, is looking at, again, what's your value. We want to again dive in deep to find out, who you are, what you resonate with, what's important to you. And so um, again, when you have all these tools in front of you, you can make that mindful decision on what is the best path for you. Because as we all know, with college, it comes at a cost, and so we want to make sure that you're on a path that not only gets you to where you want to go, but in a process that will save you a lot of resources for yourself and your family. And so, again, using sites like this, very helpful, because then it creates, like I've been mentioning, it creates a conversation, an opportunity to dialogue with family, friends, counselors, industry, to really strategically plan your next steps. All right. Again, the website, uhcc.hawaii.edu/career_explorer, free for all to use. You don't need any kind of passcode or anything to access the site. Just dive in and check out all the tools. But on the part about lifestyle, on the part about safe values and what's important to you, it's really good then to have the conversation about priorities versus sacrifices. And now this is where again, you want to think back to what's important to you. What are your values? What are your strengths? What are your interests? And you just want to maybe map that out, write it down, have it somewhere. And then you want to take a look at things like this. I share this map with everyone because it provides kind of a realistic lens of what it's like to live in certain states. If you look at the top, this is the 2020 two-bedroom rental housing wages. What this means is what you would need to make an hour in order to rent a two bedroom rental. Some of you may in your mind say, well, I may not be renting, I might be doing something else. But again, this just kind of gives you an idea of the cost of living. Look at the cost of gas, look at the cost of milk, look at the cost of food. It kind of starts creating that realistic picture of where do I see myself uh, after I graduate with whatever certification I get after graduating from high school. Again, what is your priorities? What are your sacrifices? And that's the next conversation. So let's say you're looking at the hourly wages or what you need to make to rent a two-bedroom apartment, and you look at South Dakota. Wow, it's like $15 an hour. I can do that. But then you think to yourself, can I live in South Dakota? And so again, you got to think, what are my priorities? What are my sacrifices? Do I see myself living in South Dakota? Can I live in a place where now there's no ocean. Um, maybe I love skiing. Maybe there's a lot of great skiing in South Dakota. Like, I don't know. Put all that into perspective. And again, have conversations with people to really hash out what is your priority, what is your sacrifices. So let's go back to our state. We have to make close to $39 an hour to rent a two-bedroom home. And so you think, wow, $39 an hour, that's kind of high. So again, going back to what are my priorities and what am I willing to sacrifice? And you just want to kind of iron all that out. Going back to the discussion about values, and so it's the thing that guides us. And so much like Kapi Olani, we have vision, missions, and of course you see our values, and it's what guides us for KCC, from our groundskeepers to teachers to counseling students, like everyone that's a part of Kapiolani are anchored in these values. It's what guides us. And so I think for all of us, when we show up to work, we are navigating through our day-to-day responsibilities with these vision, mission, and values sort of above us and just kind of moving us right along. I wanted to share this with you because it does provide a link in how values are applicable. When you're entering colleges, when you're entering the profession, you're going to see these statements, and maybe that too, like along your journey in exploring colleges or exploring degrees, it's diving into what their vision is, what their mission is, what their values are. And so if you see like a connection or intersecting point, again, maybe that's a thing. Start talking to folks. And when you say, I saw this certain degree and the values just really speak to me, that's great. Have that conversation, flesh it out. When you are exploring um, your values, again, what degrees perhaps may match that. At KCC, what you see in front of you are the types of programs that we offer. And so for us, there's two arms. You have your non-select programs and your select programs. So on one side, you have your non-select programs. What that means is, let's say you wanted to be a pre-business major at Kapi Olani, where you can put that as your degree and you can start day one. You can be classified as a pre-business student. On the other side, select programs. Let's take nursing for an example. And so we have a lot of folks interested in nursing, but they cannot pick it at the gate. They cannot pick it at the very beginning. They have to finish certain prerequisites. They may have to take some exams, pass them in order to be officially classified in one of these select programs, such as nursing. When you look at other colleges, there might be different terms. I've seen like terms like impacted degrees along those lines. And so when you're searching for degrees, you want to pay attention to whether if it's a non-select program, select program, impacted. So again, for Kupiolani, if you look on our non-select program side, business, culinary arts, hospitality, tourism, IT, liberal arts, natural sciences, paralegal, second language teaching, that students can declare from day one when they apply to Kapiolani. Select programs include all our health programs, nursing included, as well as new media arts. Students who are interested in that in our select programs start off as liberal arts, finish those prerequisites, and best case scenario, if they meet all the requirements, then they are officially switched to that particular degree. And that's how they become, say, an official uh, declared nursing student. And so that's the difference between non-select programs and select programs. There's also the non-credit route as well. Again, this is going back to what your values are, what's important to you. So for some of our students, they need to work right now. So what you see on the screen is our non-credit programs. Some of our students will maybe do this. I've seen them do it over the summer so that when they enter fall, they're going to college but working at a job that pays higher than, say, minimum wage. And so maybe they will do our phlebotomy program, do that maybe over the summer or maybe a little bit into the fall, maybe attend college to pursue a degree, but their part-time job is maybe working for like a clinical lab or a medical office, something like that. Kind of looking at what your values are, what's important to you, and maybe even what your needs are, and that will decide what degree is going to be a best fit for whatever situation is in front of you right now. Maybe in the immediate, there's certain things that need to be addressed right now. I'm not sure if this was discussed in school, but if you look at, say, the Maslow hierarchy of needs, some folks are like in the very survival mode section of that hierarchy. And so for now, they need to just take care of themselves, their family. They just need to be safe. They need to be on a solid foundation. So maybe pursuing something like a short term certificate will help support that first layer in their hierarchy of needs so that as they proceed, say, in whatever the degree that resonates with them, they've taken care of the important stuff: food, housing, safety, things like that. And so, not to toggle back and forth, but again, looking at the different degree options that are out there and then finding the one that's going to resonate with you the most. This is just some of the statistics from Kapi Community College. We have approximately 6,000 students each semester. Um, and if you look at the average age, it's about 25 years of age. And so we have students who are recent high school graduates. We have students coming back for retraining. We have students coming back because maybe they're switching careers. And so in a classroom, you'll have folks with different life experiences, different ages, which that in itself is a wonderful learning journey. I mean, you're learning from the expert, which are your teachers, but sometimes your classmates as well complements that learning journey. And so that is the wonderful thing about attending Kapil Aligning or really any college is that you have that very dynamic classroom experience where you are learning from each other and you yourself could be teaching folks what you know too. Learning is not just the teacher talking to students, it's having this open conversation on the subject at hand. I've been told some teachers call themselves storytellers, some call themselves mainly facilitators because it's just kind of bringing everyone together and collectively learning the subject matter and moving lockstep together towards the end of the semester. Even though we're online now, and now we're in 2020, going into 2021, our class sizes will still not go larger than 35, and students will continue to know their professors really well. The professors will get to know their students very well. That makes it really nice when issues come up or they have questions. The degree of communication just makes it a whole lot easier when the classroom is small. For our English and math courses, that's even smaller. We have classes that are 22, maybe 20 students in size, and that just makes even for a better learning environment. Even though we're like the second or third largest college in the state of Hawaii, when you're in the classroom, it doesn't feel like that. You still feel you're part of a community college. There's a point where some of the students call their instructor by their first name is because they just developed that relationship that's helping them through their journey, and they're just very hands-on, and they just want to make sure that all their students are doing well and succeeding and getting all the support they need to achieve whatever goal they set for themselves. Next, I want to share all the opportunities, support, and the cost of attending Kapiolani Community College. I kind of touched on it in the beginning. We talked about non-credit certificates and degrees, but what I didn't touch on are the opportunities to transfer. A lot of our students who are thinking about pursuing a bachelor's degree will complete their freshman and sophomore courses with us, maybe otherwise known as general ed requirements. Complete that at Kupi'olani, then transfer out. Students have gone to the local colleges in our state: Hilo, West Oahu, Manoa, HPU, Chaminade. Students have gone to the continent as well. I've seen Oregon State, Stanford, Yale, Cornell was another one, Northwestern. We have roughly 25 counselors on staff all ready to help. And so if you have ideas of your next step, let's have that conversation. Let's talk about your values, let's talk about your interest, and then let's talk about where you want to go. And we can have that conversation to see how we can strategically get you from Kupiolani to your next step. Also, along your journey, you can participate in a lot of co curricular type opportunities like service learning, community service. We even have research opportunities with some of our classes. We have academic subject certificates. One in particular is around sustainability. And so, if climate change, um, issues around sustainability resonates with you, maybe consider pursuing our academic subject certificate while you're pursuing these other degrees that we offer. So, again, many growth opportunities. Support, we have counselors that address, I feel, almost everything: career, academic, mental health, job placement. We got them all. Our instructors are wonderful. And so they are hired based on their expertise. They have at least a master's degree in that particular subject. Many of our instructors even have published books, articles, journals, things like that. If you look at the picture, our chefs were executive chefs. Um, if you go into our health professions, they were nurses. And so in your classroom are these talented people excited to share their expertise with you. Um, and then, like I mentioned about that whole classroom dynamic, is then create this very interactive classroom experience where the expert is coming in, weaving his knowledge in their classroom. And so the instructors are amazing. If you look at the cost, for the next couple of years, it's going to be for Hawaii residents $131 per credit. Going back to the values, if you are having conversations with families and resources or money is an issue, um, perhaps consider the community colleges. So at Kapi, olani, a year's worth of tuition is somewhere in the mid 3000s. And if you're financial aid eligible, that could all be paid for. It's kind of looking at what's important to you, what is your value. Story to share: we had a student that got into a very popular college on the continent, super excited. But when it came down to the cost, it was just too much. And so it was such a tough decision where it's like, okay, student got accepted into this really great university, but they would have to take out a ton of loans, and it may take forever to pay it back. On the flip side, student got this wonderful scholarship to attend college locally, would exit out of college with zero debt. And so that conversation was on the table. What do we value? And so again, is having these, again, big picture conversations. And so when you look at the cost of a community college, it's something to consider. Again, thinking about your values, what's important to you, um, things like that. Steps to applying. And it's important to know that we work in semesters. This goes for all of the University of Hawaii campuses. And so we have fall and spring. So fall is usually from August to December. Spring is usually from January to May. We all have two summer sessions. One's from May to ending of June, and another goes from July to August. But most of our students will do fall and spring, 4 months. You can start in the fall or you can start in the spring. So there's no real preferred semester to start with. You can start either fall or spring. Doesn't really matter. Again, you want to look at your family situation, and that may decide which semester you begin your college journey with KCC. If you look down at the other steps, it's applying to, say, Kapiolani by going to apply.hawaii.edu. Again, doing the financial aid process. Now, the thing to remember about financial aid, it's a free process. If you're going through the federal website, studentaid.gov, even scholarships, it's a free process. If there's anyone that asks you for a fee to help you process it, be very cautious. It might be a fraudulent site because anything dealing with aid shouldn't cost you anything. And so just be mindful that this whole journey should be at no cost to you. And so, again, if you find that there's these scholarship websites, financial aid websites asking for money, either don't do it or just be extremely cautious about it. We do have a health requirements. We do require copies of your MMR, TB risk assessment, Tdap, varicella. Those are your standard shot records. Um, we do need to know where to place students for math and writing. And so we have a placement test that we require. We can also use ACT scores, SAT scores for placement. We just want to see what students are coming in with, and we want to place them appropriately. The wonderful thing about community colleges, we have an open door admissions policy. So everyone can start their college journey with us. But we need to know where to start them and where to start them appropriately. And so having these test scores will help us know where to start them. The nice thing about this placement test, if you need to do one, it's not pass fail, it's just a placement. And so again, we just need to know where to start you at, and then we work from there. So I got many stories. Side story: I had a student who had to work on their pre-algebra math in college. His goal was to be an engineer, but long story short, he worked really hard, went through all the math steps through calculus 4, and graduated with his electrical engineering degree. So it can be done. For all our students who are brand new to KCC, they do attend a new student orientation. That includes counselors such as myself helping students pick the right classes. And so that's where we may have a conversation with you. So say you are at our orientation, we may ask you, what do you value? When you took the RIASEC, when you took the MBTI, what were your results? And that will help us map things out for you effectively, making sure you are on a journey that's right for you. And so that's what happens at the new student orientation. Whew, that was a lot. But thank you again for spending time with me and allowing me the opportunity to share the wonderful things about KCC. There's our website, it has a wealth of information. If you need to get a hold of me, there's my email address. I am accessible through remind.com. And so if you want like a quick response, feel free to look me up in remind.com, and that's my contact over there. Look us up on Instagram. Olani is our main one. The one more linked to my program, which is our Kuile outreach. It's a capcc underscore Kuile. And if you do listen to podcasts, or if your family or teachers, counselors listen to these podcasts, we do have one as well, the Kuile Courageous Conversation, KCC. We talk about things with value. We talk about what it means to seek mental health counseling. We talk about safety. We talk about academic journeys. We try to dive in deep to get to the heart of why we do things of that nature. So it's a really great podcast to check out. But thank you again. College is a journey. Take the time to understand yourself. Take the time to really understand what you value. Write it down, put it somewhere, revisit it, dissect it, talk to people, ask questions. I mean, now's the time to do it. Like I mentioned in the very beginning, you folks are in this wonderful position to create something new, maybe take what's out there, spin it to make it work in this current situation we are in. Like I mentioned earlier, like this one leader shared with everyone, these challenges provides opportunities. And here you folks are at the very beginning of creating these new opportunities. I am so excited for you all. And if there's anything I could do to help along this journey of yours, and if it's to be a Kapiolani, wonderful. If not, it'll be an honor to just have that conversation with you all. But again, thank you very much. Be safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, 6 feet.